lights are out and you stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life feels lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me.
It was a close battle with a hard-fought finish last week at Auto Club, but here these guys are going to be racing the track more than they're going to be racing each other. Good evening, everybody, and thank you very much for making us a part of your evening as we get set for round number 12 of the TNT Truck Series Season 6 here from Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. It is going to be an absolutely incredible night. The first time a lot of these guys are taking the trucks around the Circuit of the Americas. And Tony, it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, these guys always know how to put on, you know, a good time. And, I mean, just trucks, Circuit of the Americas, it's going to be a challenge no matter what they do.
Yeah, it certainly is. Before we get into the final minutes of practice here, let's take a look at the point standings coming into tonight, because after the win last week, Randy Bechtel has a very secure hold on that points lead. Right now, an 89-point lead over Jordan Smith, a further 4 points over Chris Smith in the top three. Chase Barry able to leapfrog Evan Pienta last week. This is going to be a racetrack where guys could have the possibility, just by showing up, to make some great leaps in the points.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, and when you boil it all down, um, you know, there's a lot of racing left to do in this season, but you know, the biggest thing these guys are going to have to do is just figure out this track here tonight, because Circuit of the Americas is not an easy track to get around, no matter what you do.
No, it absolutely is not, and we saw that firsthand last weekend for the season finale for eFormula 3.5 as they ran their season ender and championship decider here at this racetrack. As we'll take a look and see some of the guys on their way around. There's that number 25 Polaki Chevrolet Silverado. That is Scott Tompkins, currently sitting third on the timing and scoring pylon right now with a minute and a half left. Randy Bechtel sits atop. Chase Barry, who was one of the big guys to watch back at Daytona last season, currently sitting in second with Tompkins in third. Evan Pienta and Jeff Pogo, the men who finished first and second back at Daytona last season, rounding out the top five. And you can see this is a big lumbering vehicle to try to get around, and this right here, the final sector, is a very tight, slow section for these trucks.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's very easy for these guys, especially deep into a tire run. It's going to be very easy for these guys to try to lay the power down too quickly. And you'll see what just happened to Dustin Lamb a couple corners ago. You know, just basically stepped on his own junk.
And typically with a road course and with the difficulty level of this road course specifically, you would assume you're going to get less of a showing, and we do have that, unfortunately. 22 drivers showing up here tonight, which is going to be the smallest field for the season for these guys, but for certain a bigger field than what we were expecting to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, this is one of those tracks that, you know, the only thing you're going to see tonight is guys taking a shot, just trying to get as many points as they can, you know, and just trying to, you know, salvage what they have in this season and hopefully not have to use this as their drop week. You know, they can actually carry some points and get a track that they did poorly at to be their drop week. As looks like qualifying is getting ready to start, Frank.
Yep, we got a 10-minute qualifying session here this week to account for how long it takes to get around this absolutely massive behemoth of a racetrack. Is the one of Chase Barry is the first of the drivers out. And one thing that we don't necessarily need to talk about at an oval racetrack here, especially on a track like this with the first sector the way it is, very easy to get an off track, very easy to get your lap time invalidated.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, they're quite generous at this track. You know, you can see where the curbing is. You can see where the red line is that kind of designates where the racing surface is. You can dip 2, but if you dip more than 2, you're screwed.
And you can see those yellow little humps there on the apexes of some of these corners. You'll see those a lot around the front and the first sector, what would be the first sector in Formula One around here, as Chase Barry just slowly trying to work his way around to get around to start his lap. He is still the furthest along. I believe now Ellis Thomas is the furthest along down the long back straightaway between what iRacing calls turns 11 and 12 here at Circuit of the Americas. And a lot of heavy braking zones here that these guys are going to have to negotiate, because if you get these things really down on the brake pedal, that truck will tend to slide, so it makes it very difficult to try to get a move done.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, I'm kind of looking at the licenses right now from everybody that's in the field. Only 2 drivers have A-class licenses. That's Chase Barry and Stephen Holmes. And there's a handful of B-class licenses, with Jeff Pogo leading the way in that one, as all he's got to do is run a couple more official road course races and, you know, run them semi-clean, and he's got an automatic promotion with what his current safety rating is as a B class. And then there's a lot of Ds and a lot of rookies. As a matter of fact, there's 2 drivers showing in the field that have never run an official iRacing road race.
That certainly can play a factor into tonight as we see Jeff Pogo begin his first lap around here. As Pogo on his way down the hill, and that hill at turn 1, a very, very deceptive braking zone. Unlike down at the other end of the racetrack where you're going downhill into that heavy braking zone, you can start to brake a lot later going uphill in turn 1.
Yeah, you do. And the one thing I've noticed going into turn 1, a lot of drivers are taking the entry rather shallow. That's a corner where it would benefit you to late apex it to try to get more drive out of the corner.
So, and I'm sure that'll also be used certainly as a defensive line here tonight, all throughout the race, as Pogo and Barry are pretty much identical right now. The fastest of all on the warm-up lap was this man, Evan Pienta. Scott Tompkins right now purple through the first 2 sectors of this racetrack in the 25. There he is coming down the long back straightaway, going down the hill into the heavy braking zone, into what would be Formula 1 Sector 3, coming out of Sector 2 right about now, and then going into Sector 3. So Tompkins in that 25, trying to set the best, most composed lap time as he possibly can. A little bit further back, there is the 51 of Randy Bechtel, who has won the last 2 races running here. Took the win last week. Took the win last week at, where the heck were we last week? Auto Club, that's where we were.
Fontana.
And then took the win the week before that at Phoenix. Also had a top 3 finish at Atlanta, I believe. Finished top 3 at Michigan as well. Yep, finished second at Michigan. Won at Eldora. Second place finish at Vegas this year. Worldwide Tech finished second. You have to go quite a ways back to find a race where Bechtel has not finished at least in the top 2. As Scott Tompkins puts down a 2:17.54 on his first lap, fastest the entire night.
That's a lap right there. The thing is, too, he's also got a tidy lap going, a little bit squirrely there coming through the S's.
Yeah, he's killed it now.
Yeah, he's definitely killed this lap, but that first lap, it was nice, tidy, keeping the truck on track, wasn't overdriving it. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, and Randy Bechtel puts down another one, a 2:17.139 on his first lap. To put that into context, it was a 2:17.77 that Bechtel set. That was the fastest of all in the practice session just before this, as he now begins his second lap. So Tompkins is done. He will not get a chance to better his lap. As we'll see where Evan Pienta is on track right now. Pienta going onto that long straightaway as the track undulates ahead of him. Zach Calloway, Chandler Summers, Larry Poling, Dustin Lamb, Stephen Holmes, Tommy Cannon, Jeff Price, Nicholas Lamb, Scott Stotler, and Jacob Lamb are not going to be participating in the qualifying session here tonight. Stephen Holmes had an off early. Tommy Cannon did not have his first lap count. Larry Poling has been at the edge of pit road, and everyone else has not even attempted to qualify here thus far. As we'll take a look at Chase Barry coming out of, the big carousel modeled after the quadruple apex turn 8 at Istanbul. Coming onto the main straightaway now is Chase Barry. We'll see what he can put down. And for Barry, it'll be a 2:18 flat. So he will better his lap, but not his position. Jeff Pogo slower than his previous. Ellis Thomas has just crossed the line. Jordan Smith just crossing the line now in the 24. Take a look and see what Randy Bechtel is up to as he comes through the penultimate corner. Dan Dill about to cross the line in the 11. Dill in 10th. He will stay there. Betters his personal best as Bechtel will now cross the line. He is slower than his previous best, but still on the pole. As we take a look at the 38 Superflow Chevrolet of Cody Levitt coming through the final couple of quarters now. These guys seem to be rather composed with these trucks at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing a lot less issues than we did during the hot lap session. But the other thing to consider, too, track temperature's down about 15 degrees from where we started this event.
And that will certainly help these guys, as the guys who are out on track right now, Bechtel, Pienta, Levitt, Sawtek, and Thomas have already set their lap times and will go no further. So the top 12 deciding to take qualifying, and Randy Bechtel lays down an absolute flyer here tonight.
Yeah, that was a full send-it lap for Bechtel. Wanted to let these guys know that if they want the race win, they've got to go through him, as has been the case the last couple of weeks. Now, granted, Randy will even admit that he's lucked into both of those wins with the top two guys kind of getting into it with about 5 to go last week, and then pit strategy paying dividends the previous week at Phoenix. But, Randy wants to leave absolutely no doubt that you got to go through him to get it tonight.
As if he's left any doubt this season. Did not sit on the podium at any point in the first 3 races at Daytona, Kentucky, or Milwaukee. Since then, his worst finish has been P2, which is absolutely insane to think about. That's a 7-race streak, an 8-race streak actually, where he has either won or finished second, and it's a wonder how he has that 89-point lead in the championship coming into tonight's race. But right now, we will take a look at the grid here for tonight's race at Circuit of the Americas. Starting on pole is the aforementioned Randy Bechtel. He has Scott Tompkins alongside of him, just a shade under 4/10 quicker than the 25 in qualifying. Evan Pienta and Jeff Pogo will make up row 2, with Chase Barry and Brandon Ayers making up row number 3. Row 4 will go to Jordan Smith and Chris Smith, with Cody Levitt and Dan Dill making up row 5. Row 6 and finishing out the qualifiers, Casey Sawtek and Ellis Thomas.
2 of the guys with rookie class licenses are going to roll off in row 7. That's Larry Poling and Scott Stotler. Zach Calloway is going to be joined in row 8 with Stephen Holmes. Chandler Summers and Tommy Cannon roll off in row 9 with an all-Lamb row 10 of Dustin and Jacob, and then Jeff Price and Nick Lamb starting shotgun on the field in row 11.
And 13th through 22nd, as always, having not taken qualifying time, will be starting based off of their I rating. So as we see these guys lining up, this is between, I want to say this is between turns 10 and 11.
Sounds about right.
Down the long back straightaway between the 2 hairpins, I believe, is where these guys are lined up right now. Throw up the track map actually to take a look, and yep, that's exactly where they are. So there you see where they are visually on the track map. As we get set to go, that weather, as Tony was talking about, 70-degree ambient temperature, 100 degrees even on track temperature as we get to start this race here tonight. 7-mile-an-hour winds, pretty much the peak of gusting thus far here tonight. blowing towards the south and swirling a little bit towards the east are those winds. Zach Calloway and Scott Stotler deciding to start from the pit lane here tonight. As Tony, we have a completely different dynamic coming to you for this series tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these guys don't have to turn right an awful lot, and usually if they are having to turn right, chances are they're in deep doo-doo. But, yeah, no, this is going to be interesting to see how these guys handle this technical road course here at Circuit of the Americas.
Absolutely, and this is going to be a long race here tonight. 41 laps on offer here tonight, but with lap times approaching 2 minutes and 20 seconds, this certainly could be quite the evening here tonight at Circuit of the Americas. And again, these guys are going to have to fight the track more than they're going to have to fight each other tonight.
Absolutely. Frank, it looks like we're getting ready to go green.
Yeah, it does. It does appear that way as we get set to go, coming through the penultimate corner here at Circuit of the Americas. Pace car about ready to duck off. It's going to have to wait until coming out of the final corner before we get this race officially under green. Coming out of turn number 20, round 12 from Circuit of the Americas, 41 laps, we're green.
Not quite yet.
Oh.
They're holding them down. There we go.
Well, the official green flag had taken place out of that corner, and Tompkins got a great launch up the hill, and Tompkins going to try to take that lead as Pienta looks to squeak inside the 51. As you would expect, cars on the outside line running wide out of turn 1, but right now it's Tompkins who still holds control.
Tompkins was able to get the jump as soon as that green actually did fly. Bechtel held him down until the official green came out, and I thought I saw something earlier where they said all starts are going to be on the green tonight, and they had to wait until they got that notification that green, and finally the flaggers started waving, and Tompkins was able to get to the throttle before Bechtel was. A little bit squirrely for Bechtel coming through.
The top of the S's.
Disappeared.
We'll call that the top of the S's. As around goes Chase Barry at the top of the hill. That's a part of the track that's going to be very dangerous. And a big hit there for Cody Levitt. Smoke pouring out of the 38. That should seal the deal for Cody Levitt tonight as well. Both of those cars in a world of trouble.
And that just looked like cold tires coming over the crest of that hill, and Barry just... Oh, man.
That was a big hit.
Shot.
Yep, Cody Levitt. And you can see him here in the 38. He's got to hope that engine is Vegas Golden Knights strong. Just to get back to the pits. And I think it just ran out. As we'll go and take a look and see what happened here. As Chase Barry just coming over the crest of the hill. Well, coming down the hill, and that curb, very dangerous in the next-gen cars. Here on cold tires, it looks to be as well. Cody Levitt chose what he thought was the right way, and unfortunately just did not work out for him.
Yeah, I mean, you hate to see it happen this early in an event, but what?
Oh, just watching that replay from Levitt's perspective, that was a hard hit that Levitt took as we begin lap number 2. Jeff Pogo
just got to slow down.
Yeah, I was just going to say, must have gotten a slowdown penalty because he's now fallen back to 5th. Scott Tompkins still in the lead of the race. Randy Bechtel, Evan Pienta, your top 3 here at the moment. Now, I'm surprised at the start of the race because when we had turned the ticker on, the race was officially green because it's typically that first line coming out of the final corner. That's where the qualifying times are clocked. That's where the race officially begins.
But the start-finish line is further up that straightaway, and they had to wait until the green flag actually started being waved by the virtual flaggers.
Well, there you go. These top three right now running about as close as they possibly could. The only one without rear end damage off of that start is the 25 of Scott Tompkins, currently in the race lead. Jordan Smith, and around goes Brandon Ayers. Back at turn 11. The second of three really big hairpins tonight. Right at the very top of this racetrack, and we'll see what happens with the 16.
Too much rear brake bias.
It's coming down the hill. And Lord knows I did the same thing, run a couple laps to see what these trucks would be like. I did the same thing. I couldn't tell you how many times that Brandon Ayers did. And these things are really, really wiggly when it comes to heavy braking. You have to worry about it when you're trying to get around somebody, getting beside somebody, and also when you're just trying to make it through these corners. Dustin Lamb in the 10 had a little bit of an off. There's Scott Stotler again, who decided to start from pit lane in the 5. So these guys running out well wide as Evan Pienta, track extending just a little bit. At the end of this lap is the top three right now running very much line astern. Tompkins having led the way from the beginning.
Well, I mean, if you take a look at the way that these guys are attacking these corners, Tompkins is actually getting the truck slowed down before corner entry and then accelerating through the corner. Whereas Bechtel and Pienta are trying to take more of a, air quote, traditional driving style where you slow down, get the car turned while still slowing, and then feed the power on from mid-corner on. Whereas Tompkins, he's getting the truck wound down before getting to the corner and then accelerating all the way through, and he's getting a better drive corner off.
You can really see right here as we jump on board with him how he just runs away from the 51 and the double zeros. Put about a half a second on those guys just over the first sector alone here. Is this number 25 rolling early here? You can just hear how long you have to wait before you pick up the throttle, and even then he's still not, it's still taking him a minute to get on the throttle here in these slow parts. Otherwise the back end of this thing will jump around on you very quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. But, you know, this goes back to what we've seen the last couple of weeks. Tompkins has been one of the trucks to beat. It's just bad luck, you know, that he hasn't had higher finishes than he deserved.
Now, he did make the comment that he won at Kentucky in the Ford, but ever since he switched to the Chevrolet, I'd argue he's had better results in the Chevrolet. Granted, he hasn't had a win, but he certainly has been more consistent in that Silverado than he had been in the F-150. Let's take a ride on board with Evan Pienta here for this lap. We'll throw the virtual dashboard up just so you can see what he's having to do and how he's having to work this track and get a little bit of appreciation of how much undulation and how much elevation change there is around this place. tell you what, it may look and feel slow when we jump in the car like that and show you around here, but I can promise you these guys are pushing these things as fast as they possibly can go. It's just these things have so much power and so much weight to them that you really can't push them any harder than what they are.
Yeah, I mean, you figure you're trying to push a 700 horsepower engine through two 10-inch wide tires, and the truck weighs 3,500 and something pounds. So these things don't like to change direction, and you got to figure the difference between the trucks and the Cup cars or the Xfinity cars. The trucks have a higher center of balance or center of gravity than the other two Premier Series in NASCAR. So, it takes a special hand to really hustle one of these things around a road course.
Absolutely does. We were looking at Ellis Thomas and Zach Callaway as you were explaining that, Tony, and this is why. Here's what happened to Zach Callaway a moment ago. Coming through the final couple of corners. This is the final corner here. Back end comes around goes to 55. And then a little bit after that, here's the 80 of Ellis Thomas trying to chase down Chandler Summers in the 15. A little late on the brakes, trying to pick up as much ground as he possibly can, and slight off track, nothing too dramatic there for Ellis Thomas as we get back up to this battle here in the top three. As these three are really the only ones that are running close to each other. They're running nice and neat. It's worth noting that Nicholas Lamb and Jacob Lamb did not take the start in the 37 and 22. So those guys not going to be getting credit for a start. This boy, Bechtel, getting really close to the back end of the 25.
Yeah, he showed the nose a couple corners ago, and, Tompkins, cool as a cucumber, just took his normal line, and Bechtel had to jam on the binders to stay off him. Because we all know that the three guys at the front of this field, none of them really want to win a race, air quote, that way. So, the fact that these guys are keeping it as neat and tidy as they are, now, mind you, we're only working lap 6 of 41, so the aggression might ramp up as looks like Pogo and Holmes just went pit side.
Dan Dill in pit road as well, and these guys are all a part of the same team, so there's some team pit strategy at play here, and from what it looks like, Jeff Pogo, only took fuel. Same thing with Stephen Holmes. Dan Dill about to jump into pit road. I would have to assume he's going to take fuel only, so a little bit of strategy there for the 4, the 9, and the 11 as these three just continue this epic battle up at the front. Jordan Smith sitting 4.5 seconds behind these guys. Casey Sawtek currently sitting in the 5th position in the number 27, who appears to have had his connection issues fixed after last week's disaster. And Tommy Cannon right now in the 47, up 10 spots here at the start of this race. He is by far the biggest mover.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, he's doing that thing where you got to keep the truck on track, keep it clean, keep it pointed in the right direction, and not try to overcut the corners, because the slowdown penalties here are just insane.
Absolutely. Is this battle here up in the top three not slowing down the slightest, as you see in the background there, Jordan Smith sliding through the first of these two double apex corners. Chris Smith in the 81 now has a little bit of company. That's Brandon Ayers in the 16 as he's trying to battle back and trying to pull back 2.7 seconds on Casey Sawtek in front of him.
Yeah, absolutely. But the thing is, you got to be careful if you're doing what Jordan Smith did a couple of corners ago. You've got to preserve your tires, because these guys only have 3 total sets tonight. The set they qualified and started the race on, then they've got 2 spare sets in their pocket for the remainder of the race. So, you kind of got to be mindful of that, because you don't want to burn the tires up early, because then you're screwed for the remainder of the fuel run.
Absolutely. As Brandon Ayers, mind you, in that 16, spun out of a top 5 position at the beginning of this race, still trying to claw it back. He has that 5th position in his sights with Casey Sawtek and gets a very good run through the middle of turn 1, trying to claw back what he can on that 81. Jeff Pogo getting around Tommy Cannon going through turn 1.
Well, they haven't gotten that one sorted out enough yet. Is Cannon right there with Pogo? And Pogo now starting to pull away a little bit, and that kind of goes back to what I was talking about during the qualifying session with Pogo being a B-class license ready to be promoted. Just needs a couple more official races to get that minimum participation deal in, and Cannon still has his rookie license.
There's Dan Dill right now, one of the 3 drivers that came in on lap 5 to fill up on fuel. That's why Jeff Pogo is where he is right now in 8th. And here is Stephen Holmes in the 11th position in the number 9. He's just gotten around Ellis Thomas and is making his way towards the 15 of Tommy Cannon, Chandler Summers, who you just saw before the camera switched. There he goes off in the distance up the long back straightaway here. As this battle up here at the front still, it hasn't changed much. The distances change ever so slightly, but they're all still right here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's some good hard racing at the front of this thing. Very respectable so far. Just received word from Ryan Jones, having technical issues, needs to buy some new gear. Until then, he's just going to watch the broadcast. So Ryan, wish you were here. Looking forward to seeing what you could have done. Looking forward to seeing when you do make your return, what you can do on your return.
I think he did say he had an issue last week at Auto Club. There's a big slide for Randy Bechtel in the 51 coming down the hill in turn 1. A little bit further behind, Chris Smith and Brandon Ayers have caught up to the back of Casey Sawtek in the 27. Going up the hill into turn 1. Sawtek takes it really wide. Will help him get the power down a little bit sooner, but loses so much through the middle of the corner.
Well, I mean, it goes back to what we were talking about, where going through that hairpin, it would behoove you to try to take a late apex, not take it wide, just a late apex into that corner to help get the truck pointed straight, and then you could just lay the power down coming over the crest, and really make something happen. Is right now Brandon Ayers giving Chris Smith all he can handle.
Absolutely, and there's a difference between a late apex and taking what I would consider what Sawtek took, which was the wet line around these hairpins, which he's about to do again here. No, he cut across the apex, but ran it a little bit wide. Now there is a difference, and we're going to have to find out the difference here in the not so distant future as far as the wet weather line around these racetracks. Typically around a road course, you would want to stray away from where you would normally run. You don't want to be on the curbs because those retain water and you slip easier. And you want to take a wider line through corners like hairpins and stuff to get out of where the rubber has been put into the racetrack, because that makes it slippery.
Yeah, absolutely. And I jokingly say that there's a lot of drivers that can barely drive on a dry track, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens when iRacing does roll out wet weather. But I jokingly say that, but the fact is, just about everybody in this field is a much better driver than I ever was behind the wheel. So hats off to everybody right now. But, ooh, big lockup for Chris Smith.
Yep, Smith going through that last corner a little bit wide as Brandon Ayers still can't quite get close enough. Ayers might have a shot here going up the hill into turn 1. He might miss it, though. Oh, that's the wrong camera. There we go. That was the one we were looking for.
Oh, this ain't good. Sawtek showing a 4-digit ping.
You know, Sawtek, we just saw him blink for the first time right as we went on board with him, go figure.
Of course.
As Ayers, see how much he's having to pedal that car, and we'll see if, oh, big pounding of that sausage curb there. I'll see if I can get the right camera here. No, not quite, but still, you'll be able to get a good look here at how much he's having to work this wheel in these lower speed corners to try to keep this truck going straight.
But you got to be real careful with these trucks going over those sausage curves, because they've got that splitter in the front. And, I mean, Frank, you know as well as I do.
Too much brake. He realized he was going to run into the back of the 81. And Ayers had to really lock it down and now having quite a time of it to try to get it back straight again. Now finally does. But he's not only lost all that ground, about 8 seconds worth of ground, he's now lost a position to Jeff Pogo in the 4.
Yeah, Pogo was able to spot what was going on. Ayers was struggling to get that truck pointed back straight. And, Pogo was just able to drive around him as in a battle between Sawtek and Chris Smith seems to have sorted itself out. Smith, now that he doesn't have the pressure from behind, he isn't as hard driving as he was when he had all that pressure.
He's clawed it back to just inside of a second now on Casey Sawtek. A little bit of a wiggle there from Sawtek, and that was because Ayers had drove into the corner a little bit harder than the 81 did, really slammed on the brakes to try to keep from just rolling the 81 over, and ended up spinning himself out in the process, saved the car for another fight instead of, running it over into somebody else. As Chris Smith now right back on Casey Sawtek in the 27, going up the hill into turn 1. Again, there's that wide line from Sawtek. He's able to get it pointed straight, but doesn't appear to be giving him too much of advantage on corner entry, but exit he is gaining a little bit.
Yeah, and you saw that Smith was trying a shallow apex to try to shorten that corner up, and he lost everything on corner exit. So, I mean, those two different lines, it is paying a little bit of a dividend for Sawtek. And the one thing I've noticed is Smith seems to have the advantage on the third sector. Sawtek has the advantage on the first sector.
Yeah, and for the most part, the second sector is a straight line with 2 hairpins in it. So not much to do in that second sector. There's the line for the second sector for Formula One coming down that hill. As we'll take a look back up front, nothing has changed as far as position between the top 3. Scott Tompkins took the race lead on the opening start. Randy Bechtel has been following closely in second. Evan Pienta has been following closer in third. And Pienta certainly throughout the first 11 laps of this race now, or first 10 laps I should say, Pienta has put Randy Bechtel under a considerable amount more pressure than Bechtel has put Tompkins under.
Yeah, absolutely, and you can see it in Bechtel's, the attitude of that truck. There's a little bit more of a wiggle under braking in Bechtel's truck than there is in Tompkins or Pienta's. So, Bechtel's doing something a little bit different. He's attacking the corners a little bit harder than Tompkins or Pienta are. Pienta and Tompkins seem to be getting a better drive off the corner. As you see Bechtel take that really short line, Tompkins able to get a little bit better of a drive, so Bechtel got the advantage on corner entry. Tompkins able to just pull away from him on corner exit, though.
A little bit of a wiggle there from both the 51 and the 00 behind the 25. As, again, Jordan Smith behind these guys by a good 13.5 seconds at this point, so these 3 have left that 24. And look at how close these guys are coming through that first sector. Bechtel has to go out wide. That opens the door for Pienta, but the track's going to fall back to Bechtel's favor. Bechtel to the inside of the 25. Can he make the move stick? He can just barely. He's got the power down. Track's going to fall away, though. Tompkins really had to let up to keep from moving up to the outside into the 51. And look at Pienta trying to dive it through the middle.
Yeah, Tompkins, because of trying to stay off of Bechtel, actually gave up both spots to Pienta and Bechtel, as now Pienta all over the tailgate of Bechtel, trying to wrestle the lead away from him, as there's a little bit of a gap from Pienta back to Tompkins.
Pienta does have
Here
a
we
lot
go.
of skill. Yep, here comes Pienta down into the hairpin, trying for that race lead. Can't quite get it done. But Pienta does have a lot of skill from what we've seen on these road courses. 50 laps last year at Daytona. He led 28 of them and won the race. So that 00 can work a road course. Randy Bechtel, if I remember correctly, finished 4th in that race at Daytona last year. Again, that was also in the Cup car. As for the first time tonight, Randy Bechtel showing the way. And at this point, will put his points lead up over the century mark, unless Jordan Smith can find a way to really claw back some time.
Well, Smith looks like he's struggling here in the mid part of this fuel run. Not really able to make any headway, but is able to maintain the gap between himself and Scotty Tompkins, holding it right around 12 seconds. But he is starting to pull away from Casey Sawtek in the 27, who's currently running 5th.
Certainly is. There's Sawtek. He's about 20 and a half seconds behind the 24. That is Dustin Lamb, in the 10. In between Chris Smith and Jeff Pogo. Now he allows Pogo to go. And Pogo has been flying here up to these guys. Pogo was down by about 6 seconds on Smith and Sawtek. And now he has pulled that back. Just to note, Jacob Lamb has returned to the session in the 22. He's been in pit road for a good 3.5 minutes at this point, has not yet taken the racetrack. Both Chase Barry and Cody Levitt have been in pit lane for a half hour, trying to fix their machines to hopefully try to get back onto the racetrack and gain a couple of laps. Jeff Price, the only other driver that is no longer racing here tonight from what we had at the start. As again, up here at this top 3, Tompkins just a moment ago had a big look on Evan Pienta, but Pienta able to fend it off. We'll show you that right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was a great run that Tompkins had. And Pienta able to defend quite well, as now Pienta all over the tailgate of Randy Bechtel again, as they're getting ready to come through the last part of this track. And I'll tell you right now, this is the strongest we've seen Pienta in a while.
I think that was Pienta blinking out more than a move there, as Pienta right on the back, as there he goes. Another little blink there. Jordan Smith has had a little bit of an off in the 24. This is right before that triple apex right-hander. I think that was just the track extension on the outside there. Jordan Smith now bringing it into pit road for what would be his first pit stop.
I would expect foreign fuel at this point for Smith.
Well.
We're to that point in the event where next time these guys come down pit road, they're gonna have to put rubber on these cars, because I'm looking at the fall off. You're looking at about 3 seconds a lap.
Well, that's 3 seconds. That also could possibly include, as yep, there goes the left side up on the 24, and that 3 seconds can also include the quality of the lap, as here's a battle between Casey Sawtek and Jeff Pogo, what is now a battle for 4th, as Pogo's been working his way up through the field. Casey Sawtek trying to maintain his position.
this is probably the best run we've seen out of Sawtech all season as well. Yeah, he had a 4-digit ping earlier, but his connection here at Coda seems to be the best we've seen it so far, and the performance is really showing.
Here's a place where you can get away with a little bit of an iffy connection. You can't really do that when you're running in a pack at Auto Club like they were last week, and ended up causing a little bit of an incident between the 16 and the 00 on lap 3. Ellis Thomas and Daniel Dill battling it out. That's for 12th. Dill takes over the spot, as I believe Jacob Lamb has come out onto the racetrack in the number 22. So here he is for the first time tonight. Number 12 on the side of the car, 22 on the timing pylon. As both, Pienta and Bechtel are in, and Bechtel's around at pit road.
Yeah, that was big.
Yeah, we're definitely going to see what happened there.
Sawtech and Pogo had problems too.
Well, where is Pogo? Oh, whoops, there we go. That's where we'll figure it out. There's Pogo. He has gotten around Casey Sawtech. We'll show you that right now. Sawtech running wide. Pogo also having quite a big slide, but fortunately for him, Sawtech's mistake was a little bit bigger. Therefore, the spot changes hands. This is what happened on pit entry between these guys. Boy, Bechtel really overcooked it going into pit road. Took him a second on this narrow pit entry to get that thing straightened back out, but that was a self-inflicted wound there for the 51, who we have seen be almost bulletproof all season long.
Yeah, absolutely. That allowed Evan Pienta to jump him in the pit road, and that's effective race lead for Pienta right now, as Pogo, Sawtech, and Scotty Tompkins, all three of those guys still have to come in for tires. As we're working lap 14, so most of these trucks are just going to be screaming right now, give me 4 brand new tires, please.
Didn't look like too much right side damage on the 00 of Evan Pienta, who is now pulled out. Quite a substantial lead, a good 8.5 seconds over the 25. Scott Tompkins now back in the lead of the race. He has yet to come into pit at this stage, but I'm sure he'll be looking to, as Evan Pienta puts down the fastest second sector of all. Jordan Smith the fastest third. Tompkins will stay out. Oh, no, he's coming in. So here comes the 25 of Tompkins in from the race lead. That'll hand the race lead now over for the first time tonight to Evan Pienta, and Jeff Pogo, who came into pit to top off of fuel on lap 5, will now be holding down the second spot.
Bechtel almost got into the back of Sawtech a couple corners ago, and the fresh tires definitely paying dividends, but you can see that he's completely cheese grated the left side of that 51.
Yep. Very obvious to see there is 51 of Bechtel. He's coming back in, unless that could be for damage repair, that could be for a meatball flag, that could be for a multitude of things. Would not be an unsafe pit entry penalty, we can assure that. Brandon Ayers coming in as well. But we'll see what Randy Bechtel decides to do here, if this is for damage repair or what. I'm not sure what the case is. The car has not gone up. He would have been down and away if this was a fuel stop, so he might have gotten the meatball.
Speeding off,
so there you go. Which I'm surprised at, because he's right at pit exit. So that will leave Evan Pienta pretty well free and clear. He's got 3.5 seconds to Scott Tompkins, who now sits in second. Jeff Pogo in third, a further 5.5 behind him. And then there's Casey Sawtek and Chris Smith. Both of those guys have yet to come into pit road. Jordan Smith right behind Chris Smith. And this right here is the kind of race, and that was the mistake that both Jordan and Chris Smith needed in order to try to gain some of those points back, as Bechtel, you see there, still stopped in pit road. There he goes.
Over a minute in his box on that one.
Minute 7.8 in the box for Randy Bechtel. I don't think that might have been some damage repair as well, because you can see that left side looking a lot better on the 51 now.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there was a penalty and some damage repair involved in that one. But that has dropped Randy Bechtel right down to the 14th position as he pounds that curb, almost flipped the truck over.
Yeah, that's a little bit of what do you call it? A little bit of anger. Getting aggressive because of the the way that everything just went down, coming in from the lead, and eating hot garbage going into pit road. It's a little of anger.
Casey Sawtek comes into pit road. Scott Tompkins, fastest first sector that last time around, fastest second sector, fastest third sector last time around as well. So that 25 starting to make a move up towards Evan Pienta once again as they get to the top of the hill. And then back down again. Jeff Pogo should be coming into pit fairly soon. Chris Smith the same. Now, if Chris Smith can last another 5 or 6 laps here, he will be able to make it on one stop. Everybody else will need another one. So Chris Smith might find himself in a decent place, but he's also going to have to kind of pick the pace up if he wants to gain positions out of this strategy.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand trying it, but, with the pace that Pienta, Tompkins, Pogo, and Jordan Smith are pulling right now, he might get a top 5, top 10 out of it, but, everybody else that's around him are able to turn much hotter lap times. As I'm looking at best lap of the race so far, 1/1000th of a second between Scott Tompkins and Randy Bechtel. 2:17.976 for Tompkins, 9.67 for Bechtel.
So Bechtel just a little bit quicker than that 25. Those are the only two guys that have been able to put a lap time inside the 2:17 bracket here in this race. A little bit further behind, Daniel Dill in the 11, getting around the 47 of Tommy Cannon, that for the 9th position. As Randy Bechtel has worked his way around Ellis Thomas, he's recovered back up to the 12th position, and there's 11th Chandler Summers just ahead of him. So right now what we're going to do, no, never mind. There's a new fastest lap. It's Scott Tompkins, a 2:16.86.
Wow.
Faster than any lap that's been run here tonight. That 25 is on a mission right now. My goodness.
Wow. I mean, what else can you say to that than wow?
Well, he's gone on a mission, and we will bring you the rest of that mission coming up here in just a moment. Working lap number 17 of 41 here from the Circuit of the Americas. Evan Pienta currently leading with Scott Tompkins hot on his heels in second. Jeff Pogo's going to need to pit. He's running in third right now with Jordan Smith just behind him. Who will take it? We got one more pit stop and 25 laps to find out here at COTA. about to come to 22 laps to go, and there you see the battle for the race lead on your screen right now. Evan Pienta, who has had the race lead ever since coming out of pit road on lap 13. Scott Tompkins has been very much chasing down Evan Pienta, as you'll see on the graphic here. That 25 has been taking time out of the double zero, and it's going to be only a matter of time before he finally gets the pass done.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just that last lap alone, he took 4/10 out of the lead that Pienta had gained. As still waiting on some of these guys that either haven't pit or came in for fuel only earlier on to come back in for tires. As looks like both Chris Smith and Ellis Thomas are looking to make this a one-stop race.
Jeff Pogo, Stephen Holmes, and Dan Dill all came in on lap 5, but they did not take tires. Randy Bechtel, we were talking about it during the break. Randy Bechtel, you see here, currently running in the 10th position, and he's had quite a time of it since coming into pit road. Came in, hit the pit wall on pit entry completely on his own, then got caught for speeding off of pit road, decided to take that time to fix damage, spent 1 minute and 8 seconds in the pit box. He is now up into the 10th position with Tommy Cannon in front of him for 9th. And if everyone stays on the racetrack, it looks as though that's pretty much as high as Randy Bechtel can get tonight. Bechtel right now sitting 33 seconds behind Brandon Ayers, and these two have been falling off of the 16 over the course of the last 5 minutes we've been talking about this.
Yeah, absolutely. Is Bechtel working the tailgate of Tommy Cannon right now, hoping to force the 47 into a mistake, but I
think Cannon might have let that one go, as Bechtel now up into the 9th position, now 34 seconds behind Brandon Ayers, so the 51 might have just found his cap for tonight if everything stays straight. 21 laps to go, 20 laps down, as Evan Pienta right now really getting the chase from Scott Tompkins. Tompkins has fallen off just a little bit. He was running in the 217s a moment ago. Tompkins now almost in the 219s. He might have run the tires off of that number 25.
Well, we're going to see what happens here, because Pienta and Tompkins, there was only about a 10th between the two the last time across the stripe. But, Pienta, he knows what's coming, and he knows Tompkins has been strong all night. But the thing we saw during that first tire run, from about halfway through the tire run on, Pienta was a little bit stronger than Tompkins was.
First time in the last 5 laps, that last circulation around the racetrack, that Pienta was able to actually put time on the 25. Jordan Smith has jumped up into the 3rd position. You saw during the break the pass that Jordan Smith put on Jeff Pogo going down into the 3rd and final hairpin on the racetrack. There you see it again, a little bit of a wiggle, but the 24 able to get the pass done on the 4. Again, the 24 came into pit on lap 12, took 4 tires and fuel. Jeff Pogo came in on lap 5, fuel only. So Pogo in the 4 doing a great job on the tires that he started this race on.
Yeah, absolutely. And the same thing goes for Chris Smith in the 81, as he's 21 laps into his current tire run, as Tompkins had a big moment.
Tompkins, I would have to assume it was a slide under acceleration, yes?
Just blew the corner, it looked like.
There you go. So that will push Tompkins back another about 1.2 seconds from where he was. Cody Levitt in the 38 is back out on the racetrack after 34 and a half minutes on pit road, repairing that Superflow number 38 Chevrolet. Congratulations to him. Chase Barry, however, still sitting on pit road, having not completed a lap in this race. There he is in the 1. Jeff Price, the only other DNF. Cody Levitt, he will pick up the position on Jeff Price before the end of this thing.
It looks like Zach Calloway in the 55 has just put it on the hauler as well.
It's the 10 of Dustin Lamb at the top of the hill that was nose first into the wall. Let's take a look and see what happened to Dustin Lamb. This is not the first incident he's been involved in tonight, as the back end just steps out on him, coming up and over the crest of the hill. Doesn't hit the wall too hard, gets it settled back in. As Pienta right now currently sitting with a 3.5 second lead over Scott Tompkins. Here comes Chris Smith at the halfway point. So Chris Smith has now ensured himself that he can make it the rest of the way on just this pit stop alone.
Yeah, but he's got an uphill battle to try to, maintain that top 5 position as Stephen Holmes flashes by. Now, Holmes still has to make his tire stop as well, as does Jeff Pogo and Tommy Cannon. But, yeah, I mean, this is a great strategy from Smith. He's spending a lot less time on pit road than anybody else will, taking 4 in fuel right there as down and away. And that wasn't a bad stop, considering that tank was probably almost bingo on fuel.
15.6 seconds stationary for the 81. He'll come out just ahead of Larry Poling on the racetrack. Larry Poling in the 69, running in the 15th position. The first car not on the lead lap is Poling. There's Randy Bechtel, currently 16 seconds now behind Chris Smith. However, that will go away, partly because of Smith's tire life and the fact that Bechtel needs to come into pit road again, as Daniel Dill battling with Chandler Summers in the 15. Oh, watch out. What a save. A big catch there by the 11 of Dill, and then the 15 of Summers slides it down the hill.
Yeah, that could have ended a lot more poorly than it did, so good heads-up driving for both of those guys.
Absolutely. Is Ellis Thomas... a little bit of a track extension in the 80. There he is, running in the 13th position. Scott Stotler, we saw him during the break in that Hendrick Cars number 5. As Stotler just trying to do the best he can here tonight. Currently the final car on the lead lap in 14th. And still not, actually, pardon me, I'm completely wrong on that. I believe he's 1 lap down.
Yeah, Dan Dill's the last car on the lead lap.
Yep, my mistake. There is, once again, there is Dill. Tommy Cannon in the 47, not that far up the road from those two. As there's Cody Levitt going on by. Casey Sawtek in the 27 right now, running by himself at the moment. So take a look at the track map, pick out your favorite driver's number. There he is on the racetrack, as the 00 of Evan Pienta and the 25 of Tompkins, both down that long back straightaway. And you can see the 24 and 4 pretty much have the entirety of the racetrack all to themselves at this point. There's really no one on their end of the racetrack. The 00 and 25, though, they're going to be coming up on some traffic.
Yeah, absolutely. As you would expect with the pace those two guys are setting, both of them... 2 of only 3 trucks to go sub 220 that last time by. The only other truck would be Randy Bechtel. All those guys going 219 and some change. But, it's interesting to see just this deep into a tire run, just how well these guys are able to still push these trucks.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've got a lot more action here coming up this weekend on ESPN. Tomorrow night will be the Circle B Diecast Super Speedway Series. They will be in the Xfinity cars at Daytona tomorrow night. Sam and Tony in the booth there. Coming up on Sunday will be Sam and myself in the booth for the Majors Series, the Southern 500 from Darlington, a full-length Southern 500. That will start at 8 p.m. Eastern Time this Sunday night. Coming up on Monday will be the Rowdy Energy Cup Series from Michigan. It's their penultimate race before the playoffs begin. Tony and Sam will have the action there. And then on Tuesday, it'll be another Tuesday doubleheader. The MX5 Pro Series will be at Road Atlanta at 2:50 p.m. Eastern Time. And then, as Jeff Pogo comes into pit road, the Western States Racing League will head to Iowa for their 8th round of the season. That race will start at 10:05 p.m. Eastern Time. So a lot coming up here on ESPN. And we have heard we are expecting DOB to be returning soon for all of you dirt track fans that watch the network. The DOB series could possibly be returning for a one-off special event next week. And then the season should be starting for those guys coming up in the next couple of Thursdays. So we won't be alone on Thursdays much anymore. Coming up, I'm hearing either the first full week or the first Thursday in September.
I've heard that as well, so it's going to be fun to see how that plays out.
Stephen Holmes in pit road right now in the 9. Jeff Pogo down and away, 4 tires and fuel for the 4 Monster Energy Chevrolet. And Stephen Holmes down and away, now leaving his pit box and leaving pit lane. A 37-mile-an-hour pit speed limit here at COTA. As Jeff Pogo coming out just ahead of Casey Sawtek, so Pogo not losing a position in that full pit stop.
Well, that's some good news for Pogo anyways. He had quite a gap back to Sawtek, but the difference is Sawtek has warm tires. Pogo's on colds right now.
Sawtek also having a little bit of a connection issue here with 17 laps to go. Chase Barry has made it onto the racetrack after 54 minutes of sitting on pit road. That number 1 is back out on the circuit, and he should gain at least 1 position, possibly 2, depending upon whether or not Cody Levitt ends it early here tonight. But a very good job, perseverance from both the 38 and the 00 to wait that long, 35 minutes and 54 minutes respectively, to get their cars back out onto the racetrack.
Yeah, I guarantee you at least one of those was a new engine.
Probably both of them, honestly. They both blew them up.
Yeah.
I think Barry might have had a couple more issues than just the engine, as he's actually going to pull it to the side here to allow the 81 to go by of Chris Smith. Chris Smith running in the 7th position in that number 81, again on fresh tires after coming in on lap 21. Stephen Holmes made it to 23, same as Jeff Pogo. Daniel Dill has not come in with his 2 teammates this time, unlike what he did on lap 5. So Dill sticking it out there, still on the same tires he started the race on, as Evan Pienta and Scott Tompkins start to catch lap traffic.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's going to really kind of shake things up at the front of this thing with how heavy that lap traffic is. You know, those guys are going to have to really be mindful of where and when they're going to make their moves. As I believe that's Larry Poling that Pienta just got around.
That was Larry Poling that Evan Pienta just went around, as Scott Tompkins coming around him as well, as they wrap around the big concert stage here at Circuit of the Americas. There goes Tompkins around the 69 of Larry Poling. 00 starting his run down the front straightaway, up the hill once again here at COTA. 16 laps to go, 25 laps in the books thus far here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, so far it's been a great race. You know, as far as we've seen action all throughout the field, we've seen a lot of back and forth racing going on. As right now, the battle rages on between Tommy Cannon and Chandler Summers. That's your battle for the final spot in the top 10 right now. That is your closest battle on track.
Get Tommy Cannon in 10th. Chandler Summers has been slowly working his way back towards that number 47. He pulled a full 2 seconds back on Cannon that last time around. So the 15 looking for one of his better finishes after winning the season opener at Daytona about 3 months ago at this point. As Summers with a really good run up that straightaway. Is he going to try to make the dive going into the hairpin? Nope, he is still well too far behind.
Yeah, I mean, that's that was to be expected there. You know, with those guys trying to run it clean or trying to run it hard, as you know, getting ready to put 25 in the books already. You know, just this is what road racing is about.
Absolutely, just trying to pick apart where the guy in front of you is having the most of his issues and trying to capitalize on those times. As Tommy Cannon running a little bit wide there in the penultimate corner. That's really going to allow Chandler Summers to catch up to the back of the 47. However, Summers not able to do much with it. Might have a look going up the hill into turn 1, as these guys are very close to being lapped here. 15 laps to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Is you know, Chris Smith doing a great job with that one-stop strategy so far, as you know, he's not giving up a lot of time to Brandon Ayers right now. As a matter of fact, 2 seconds lap quicker than the truck in front of him. Plenty of time to try to reel in the 16.
Absolutely. Brandon Ayers last time by did a 2:21.7 to Chris Smith's 2:19.3. So that's 16. Again, the 16, they're on 2 completely different tire strategies. A lot of these guys up here at the front came in about 13 laps ago, 12, 13 laps ago. Jordan Smith was the first of the drivers to dive in. He came in on lap 12. So he's been out on his set of tires the longest. There he is in the 24. Brake rotor's glowing red as he heads up into turn 1. Scott Tompkins, the latest of the drivers in the top 3 to come into pit road. We'll bring it up for you there. There's the graphic. As again, Pogo's come in twice already. The first one was a fuel stop back on lap 5. Casey Sawtek coming in on lap 15. He was the latest of the guys to make their first pit stop.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, so you got to think that Pienta, Tompkins, and Jordan Smith all still need to come down at least one more time. You know, so there's still a lot of racing left to do here. So I got to kind of give the advantage to Pogo and Chris Smith and Steve Holmes.
Another half hour or so of racing here if you go by how many laps to go and lap time. So we still have, you're right, a very solid amount of racing here left to go, as Scott Tompkins slowly but surely starting to reel that double zero back in. He's gained about 0.3 of a second back that last time by, and he's going to gain a lot more as Pienta comes into pit road.
So Pienta, the first one to kind of call no mas from the front of this field, and looks like Tompkins going to stay out, but a lot of takers right now coming down pit road.
Yep, Daniel Dill in, Cody Levitt in. Take a look and see here in a moment where Jordan Smith falls in line in all of this. Question for me would be, how long does Pienta stay in? Does he try to fix some of that damage on the rear of that truck that he got from the contact with Randy Bechtel? As there's Tompkins going through the S's right now. Jordan Smith comes in from the 3rd position. Jeff Pogo a further 18 seconds behind him. We know he's not going to pit again the rest of this race. Pienta down and away without fixing any of the damage. Casey Sawtek going around the concert stage as he will be the next one to see whether or not he's going to pull it in. And Sawtek will stay out, so the 27 will go another lap. Brandon Ayers getting to that point right now, as Ayers will stay out as well. So the effective top 5 all staying out, as here comes the 24, and he's going to be in battle for a couple of laps at least with the 27 of Sawtek.
And again, this is one of the best runs we've seen from Sawtek all season long. Connection issues have just plagued that 27, since the get. And, Sawtek really having a strong run here at COTA.
Casey Sawtek out of Tallinn, Connecticut. This is a situation where if you're Jordan Smith, I understand you want to try to catch up to try to claw back those 17 seconds. Boy, those 17 seconds up to Jeff Pogo over the last 14 laps. But Sawtek is going to have to pit. How hard do you push that number 27 as Randy Bechtel comes into pit road from 9th? Tommy Cannon in as well. Scott Tompkins pulls into the pits also.
So Bechtel electing to take his final set of tires now. So definitely interesting to see where this one's going to play out.
Absolutely, as there goes Jordan Smith for the 4th position. So Smith in the 24 pulls that move off. Here comes Evan Pienta down the front straightaway. It'll be a close battle between him and Scott Tompkins coming out of pit road. Tompkins already passed up. And this is going to be a pretty sizable gap for Evan Pienta. We're looking at about 8.3 seconds between 1 and 2 right now. That's about 5 seconds more than what Tompkins had going into Pienta's stop.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing to point out too, fastest truck on track that last time by, Jeff Pogo in the 4.
Casey Sawtek into pit road. There is Jeff Pogo in the 4. Did a 1976 last time around. Brandon Ayers into pit road in the 16 as well here with 13 laps to go. So the pit cycle is complete for the race leaders. Evan Pienta out in front by 8.5 seconds on the 25 of Scott Tompkins. How long will these guys be able to keep it on the track? They've got to do it for another 12.5 laps, and we will bring you the rest of this race right after this. Down to 11 laps to go here at Circuit of the Americas, round number 12 for the TNT Truck Series presented by TickleZombie.com. Here tonight, Evan Pienta, since the first pit stop, has been in the race lead and now holds a 10-second advantage over the second place runner Scott Tompkins. Jeff Pogo in third position right now. That could be in danger as Jordan Smith lapping about 2 seconds quicker than the four right now. He's got 15 and a half seconds to make up over the next 11 laps. Chris Smith rounds out the top five in the number 81. And if you're just joining us, Randy Bechtel, an issue getting onto pit road from the race lead on the first set of pit stops, then had to come back into pit road to repair damage and to serve a penalty for speeding on pit exit. He is now running in the ninth position, 17 seconds behind Brandon Ayers, so he might be able to make up one more position here tonight, but the points leader will have his worst finish of the season since the third race of the season. And that right there is something he does not want to hear, but he can afford with the 89-point lead that he currently holds. Evan Pienta looking for his first win on the season and his first win since the Daytona Road Course last season. Looks to be in complete control right now as Pienta that last time around a 2:16.88, but with an off track did not count towards his personal best lap.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, that was a flyer over the lap too. It's too bad that it got null and void as far as counting towards fastest of the race. But you know, the one thing I've noticed is just the frustration level has really ramped up for the 51. Is there's a lot of damage on that truck. Not quite going to say that it doesn't have any life left in it, but you know, definitely he's been overdriving it quite a bit as he's blown a couple of corners on this last lap.
Randy Bechtel's fastest lap of the race to 2:17.97, ran a 2:18.24 last time by. Compare that to Brandon Ayers, who did a 2:20.72. So that number 51 is still incredibly quick. Third quickest car on the racetrack this last time across the line, but still with where he is right now, not the greatest of days, but the day that the two Smiths, both Jordan and Chris, absolutely needed for him to have coming up to the final 6 races of the season after tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as the season winding down and everybody needs to get every point they possibly can before the playoffs start, you know, this was absolutely a mandate for Jordan and Chris Smith to have any chance of trying to reel Bechtel in for the regular season championship.
Absolutely. And with that, Dover coming up next week, Darlington the week after that, North Wilkesboro, Bristol, Talladega, and then they end the season at Kansas. So we have a lot of difficult racetracks.
That's Murderer's Row.
Yeah, exactly. To preside over the last bit of this season. Jordan Smith just a mere 89 points behind Randy Bechtel at the moment. Chris Smith a further 4 points behind Jordan Smith in the point standings. Scott Tompkins also starting to work his way up. Evan Pienta, this is going to be very good for him with this win, with Chase Barry having the problems that he has had over the course of the night, as I believe, the 24 did go around in one of the hairpins. We'll take a look and see what happened to Jordan. It was the left-handed double apex. And just drove it in too deep, ends up backsliding the car. And then off he goes, not losing any position, lost time. And with that, most likely lost his opportunity at getting onto the podium.
Yeah, I mean, you hate to see that happen, but kind of is what it is at this point, and definitely not having the night he was hoping for, but able to make some headway. Oh, Bechtel had a big moment.
Take a look. Oh, yep, there is Randy Bechtel. That's the corner just before the one that Jordan Smith had spun around in. So 51, I would have to assume, doing the same exact thing and then running wide in the left-hander. Take a look and see what happened here. So I believe what iRacing would call 13 and 14. Too much gas a little too early. Tried to catch it, completely looped it. Did the 51. And now that will pretty much lock him down in the 9th position. Again, with 9 laps to go here tonight. And Evan Pienta not that far off the back end of the 51. As here comes Pienta out of the final corner. By the way, he is putting time on Scott Tompkins. Tompkins came out of pit road about 8.5 seconds behind. He is now 12 seconds adrift of Evan Pienta, so that 00 absolutely flying as this race comes down to 8 to go.
Yeah, absolutely is. Pienta, he's been strong all night, but here at the closing laps of this race, showing why he has an 11-second lead right now.
Took over the lead on lap 13 and has not looked back. Has the driver of the 00 Ford F-150. So Pienta, Tompkins, and Pogo, your top 3. Jordan Smith, Chris Smith, Stephen Holmes, Casey Sawtek. Stephen Holmes, that's one guy we haven't talked about much here tonight, running very solidly in that 6th position. Got about 5 seconds on Casey Sawtek. There he is in the 27 at the back of the screen. But that 9 having one of his better nights in quite some time is Stephen Holmes.
Yeah, absolutely. Holmes, one of the only drivers in the field with an A-class license coming into this event, showing that he does have some road course prowess, and, great run for him going right now.
I would say even the dead are taking notice of his run here tonight. Wouldn't you say so, Tony?
Yeah, absolutely. And if, you're looking for some new apparel and you want to support the league, you need to go over to ticklezombie.com and let Brian know that everybody sent you from here. And, they have spur-of-the-moment designs that will make even the undead take notice. And they don't just have T-shirts. They've got hoodies, cups, mugs, mouse pads, you name it. They can probably put a design on it. But you just need to go over to ticklezombie.com, let Brian know that we sent you, and they'll make even the undead take notice.
As we see Holmes try to work his way through the winding first sector. Very Silverstone-esque first sector. Is we don't talk about it as much. This is very much a sort of a Franken track here, as this place takes the best and in some case worst qualities from a lot of other racetracks, and they made it into one. That first sector, very reminiscent of Silverstone. This long back straightaway here, a lot like the back straightaway at Abu Dhabi. Then the twisting final sector, very akin to, as we had mentioned, the Istanbul circuit in Turkey. This is really a collaboration, a Herman Tilke nightmare of a racetrack here that they planted in Austin, Texas, but it's provided very good racing. It's provided a very technical challenge for any driver in any series that shows up to this place.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's one of those tracks that when people first saw it, they're like, really? This, excuse me. This is kind of a wild design, but, the more people have run on it, and just the events that this place has hosted over the years, V8 supercars have come over here for their first appearance in North America. The NASCAR Cup Series was here. F1. So it's a great facility, and the people of Texas are just so welcoming when you come to this track.
MotoGP has come here as well. The international Grand Touring scene has come here as well, running GT3 races here at Circuit of the Americas. There's been a lot of things that have happened at what has very rapidly become one of the premier road courses in the United States here. When you think of premier road courses, you would think of, say, Sebring, you would think of Watkins Glen, but this track is starting with how much use it gets and the variety of series that this place sees. It really has become on the level of a Sebring or a Watkins Glen. Doesn't have the history just yet, but certainly has that prestige.
Yeah, absolutely. This track is fast turning into a lot of drivers' favorite track because it's so technically challenging that when you do get the lap right, it's so rewarding.
Absolutely, and you've been watching over these last couple of laps, Chris Smith starting to get reeled in by Stephen Holmes. This for the 5th position. Casey Sawtek falling off the back of the 9 a little bit. Nothing changing up front except for the lead that Evan Pienta is growing now on Scott Tompkins as he comes down the hill with 5.5 laps to go. About to put the 51 of Randy Bechtel a lap down here. Pienta has grown his lead up to 14.5 seconds. Jeff Pogo not that far, about a half a minute behind Scott Tompkins in the 3rd position. 20 seconds further behind him is the 24 of Jordan Smith, and then there's the battle 25 seconds behind Jordan Smith. This battle here for 5th is Chris Smith really has a handful of truck right now in that number 81 as Stephen Holmes really bearing down on him.
Yeah, Holmes giving Chris Smith all he can handle right now, knowing that the pressure is on. We're in the closing laps, and only a couple laps separate those two on tire strategy right now as Smith doing the one-stop strategy, Holmes doing a two-stop strategy, and able to, kind of make it work. Almost identical lap times across the stripe last time, though.
Yep. Smith with a 21:15, Holmes with a 21:36 that last lap. So the 81 able to put a little bit of distance between himself and the 9 on that last lap. Casey Sawtek right now, who has the freshest tires out of anyone in the field right now, came into pit on lap 29. He's currently running in the 7th spot. Had been up in the top 5 for a majority of the day, but the pit cycle has gotten him out of that position. Closing in rapidly on Stephen Holmes now has put about 2 seconds back from Stephen Holmes, trying to work his way and make this a 3-car battle before the end of the next 5 laps.
Yeah, absolutely. Holmes has some time, but he's got to hope for Chris Smith to make a mistake because Smith he's been strong all night.
Certainly has been, as Tompkins starting to reel in Pienta just a little bit. He's pulled that gap under 14 seconds, but nothing threatening so far from the 25. Randy Bechtel still fighting, being put a lap down now. There's the 80 of Ellis Thomas being put another lap down by the 00, but Bechtel still fighting that what would seem to be inevitable at this point, really weaving down that back straightaway, trying to keep that 00 at bay.
Yeah, absolutely. Tompkins, he's got a rough one going on right now. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one does play out.
Certainly is, as it's the 10 of Dustin Lamb working with him right now, or working in front of these two right now. What was a battle for the race lead earlier on tonight is now a battle to stay on the lead lap as Randy Bechtel has the race leader all over behind him. It's very akin to what we saw in the first dozen laps of this race. 51 trying to keep the 00 at bay. And again, it was that costly mistake on pit entry for the 51 that put him in this spot.
Yeah, absolutely. As Bechtel kind of shot himself in the foot. I mean, he had one of the trucks to beat in the early part of this race, and then just too much rear brake bias going on to pit road. And that's the dirtiest part of the track is that pit entry, because there's not a lot of actual action going on there. And with the stiff breeze that these guys are experiencing today, there's been a lot of debris that's been blown onto that portion.
Certainly is. It's not affecting Pienta's lead all that much. Still at 14.5 seconds over Tompkins. Is the closest battle on track for position right now is that battle between Holmes and Smith. As around goes Bechtel off the nose of Pienta. Love to see that again. As here, take a look. This is going into the heavy braking zone. And it looked like Bechtel just stopped on the apex. Really hit the brakes.
Yeah,
Kind
and
of backed
Pienta had
that
absolutely
00
nowhere
in.
to go. Yeah, Pienta had absolutely nowhere to go, and he just gave him a shot in the rear, and around goes Bechtel.
Let's take a look at it again, this time from Pienta's point of view. Gaining on him on braking, but there's really... it was certainly close. I guess we just chalk that up as a racing deal and move on, as Bechtel now has gotten passed by Scott Tompkins, who sits in that second position. There is Evan Pienta, your race leader, coming to take 3 laps to go in that peak antifreeze 00. Looking to secure that first win of the season.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's a well-deserved victory if he can hang on, because he's run a smart race, and has been able to really just not put the truck wrong all night, except for the 2 times that he's accidentally gotten into Randy Bechtel.
As that battle between Holmes and Smith now has gotten a lot closer, as Holmes has pulled that to just around a second behind Chris Smith. As Smith, well, you can see that back end really starting to slide, and this is the downside of a one-stop strategy as compared to a 2. Those tires going away on that 81, and he's having to fight with lesser equipment than the driver behind him.
Yeah, absolutely, and you kind of knew it was coming with how deep he went into that first run. All he's going to do right now is just hemorrhage time. Especially considering that Stephen Holmes has. And now, mind you, it's only 2 lap fresher tires that Holmes has over Smith. But, it was the way that Holmes has run so far that's really paying dividends.
As Holmes trying to put the finishing touches on what could be a top 5 performance here tonight. He certainly had a very solid truck to try to do it. So take a look at these last couple of laps here. Holmes pulling back a full second on Holmes that last time by. And Boy, that was a big hit of the sausage curb there for the 81, and that'll only help Stephen Holmes in his chase for that 5th position. Tommy Cannon in the 47 has gone around. There's Jeff Pogo currently sitting in 3rd ahead of him. Let's take a look and see what happened with Cannon. Going into the heavy braking zone. I think he's... Yeah, that was just him going slow, stopping and letting the 4 go by. So Cannon just off of a top 10 run. Had a very good run going earlier on tonight, as there's the man who currently sits in the 10th position. That's Chandler Summers. In the number 15, Randy Bechtel in 9th. Going through the S's, Chris Smith still just holding on to Stephen Holmes.
Yeah, Holmes seems to be faster in the first sector, whereas Smith seems to be a little bit stronger in the 3rd sector, and kind of almost a wash between the two of them in that 2nd sector of this track.
As we're coming down, we have a lap and a half to go here for Evan Pienta. As there's Evan going down the back straightaway. Pienta again, who's took the lead on lap 13 of this race, had to battle Scott Tompkins in the middle stint. But beyond that, has been free and clear of that 25. Jeff Pogo, a little bit of off strategy, has only changed tires once, but has came into pit twice. In the 3rd position at the moment, Jordan Smith. Nice points day for him in 4th with his championship rival. Meyer a lap down in 9th. Still not quite sure who is going to take over that final spot in the top 5 as Pienta comes through the final corners, about to take the white flag on what has been another masterful road course performance by Evan Pienta.
Yeah, absolutely. Is, you know, you got to give credit to the guy. Hasn't really put a wheel wrong all night long. Has done what he needed to do to, you know, put that truck where he's needed to put it, to defend well, and to you know, to keep that truck relatively clean.
Another 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go here before we can put round number 12 officially to bed, as these positions have maintained pretty steady for the latter half of this race. We saw a fantastic start. The first stint had Pienta, Tompkins, and Bechtel battling for the race lead the entire way. Then ever since then, it kind of slowed down and turned into the road course race that we typically expect to have. 21 competitors took to the track tonight, and it looks as though 17 will finish. As Cody Levitt will be the last one to cross the line. And again, Levitt, after spending more than a half hour on pit road, up into the 17th position here tonight. So a great run for him. Only DNFs. Nicholas Lamb did not start. Jacob Lamb, Chase Barry, Jeff Price, and Zach Calloway, the only 4 to call it quits after starting the race here tonight. But Evan Pienta, as he comes through the final couple of corners here, he's not going to get to the back end of Brandon Ayers to lap up to the 8th position. But an incredible night for Pienta, getting his first win since back at the road course at Daytona in the Cup Cars last season, putting another charge into his championship run, and a great comeback drive after a poor performance back at Auto Club last week. Coming out of the final corner, Evan Pienta will take the checkered flag and take the victory here for round number 12 at Circuit of the Americas.
Yeah, excellent run all around for a lot of these guys. Great run for Pogo. Pit strategy really paying off is Pogo and those guys all came down early to get an extra top off of fuel, so they were able to stay out a little bit longer till we got to the halfway point, and then took their set of tires. Great run for Chris Smith as well. One stop strategy puts him in the top 5. Just great run for a lot of these guys tonight, and the runs that they desperately needed.
Absolutely. As here comes Jeff Pogo around the final quarter, and that will conclude the top 3. So Pienta, Tompkins, and Pogo will sit on the podium here tonight. Jordan Smith coming through the final sector now. And an unbelievable night all the way through for these guys here as Jordan Smith sat in 4th pretty much the entire race, and I'm sure he'll be happy, especially with where his championship rival Randy Bechtel finished here tonight in 9th. Right now, what we will do is we will start to bring our top 3 in. And Tony, I believe you are with Evan Pienta, the race winner, right now.
Evan Pienta, what else can I say but congratulations on your first win of the season. Road courses seem to really be your prowess, sir.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, new road courses, I was going to be good. Just in qualifying, kind of struggled a little bit. And then I was starting 3rd and was hoping to just ride around with the Randy and Scott there at the start. Just pull away from the rest of the field. And it looked like we were pretty much under a blanket until that first pit stop. And Scott had trouble on the long run there in the first stint. And me and Randy got by him. And then I was going to pit a lap earlier than I did. And I was going to pit a lap earlier and just try and undercut. But when I realized I was catching Randy there, when I realized I was going to catch Randy there, I stayed out another lap, and then I came into the second last corner on that second time by. I just knew I was faster in the middle. I just couldn't take those super sharp corners really well, but I was able to make up enough ground and went for a pass that I probably shouldn't have done, I'll admit, into the second to last corner there on Randy, and doored him and tried to give him the position back, and then I guess he tried to pit, and I don't know if he had too much speed going into the pits there and wrecked in front of me entering the pit road, and I hate to see that happen. And then again, just getting up to lap him, it was just trying to find a good spot, or I was seeing if he would let me by since he's a lap car, and then just got into him in turn 10 and just couldn't stop and wait for him to turn around, so I just had to plow right through it. But not exactly how I wanted to win it, but I knew I was a top 3 car at least, and we'll take it and move on to Dover.
Well, Evan, for those that don't understand, try to give us an idea of how difficult it was to get this truck to change direction and then accelerate off the corners tonight.
It was really difficult, especially for the super tight corners like 1, 10, and just the backstretch of those corners. It was really tight and hard to get power down there. But for me, it was really I was able to get the car to turn a lot easier, I know, through the S's and stuff, just because I went down to second a lot and was able to throw the car into those few corners after the S's, and that's where I was able to make up a bunch of my ground, and then along with the other few corners at the end there, just trying to get enough speed in the car and kind of not gas it up too hard to where it gets too sideways, but just enough to where you kind of throw it sideways and it kind of helps it guide through the corner was really the key, I think, to pulling away and winning this race.
Well, congratulations on the victory here tonight in Texas at COTA. Moving forward, though, you mentioned that we do go to Dover next week. completely different skill set to go to that concrete monster there.
Yeah, for sure. I'll be honest, it's not one of my best tracks. Struggled there last year, I think you saw. But I know my teammate Jordan is really good there. So hopefully I can get some pointers from him, and hopefully we can have a good string of two races. Had some bad luck the past few, just haven't been able to run very well, and kind of been honestly pretty frustrating. So it's nice to bounce back with this win.
All right, Evan, again, congratulations on your first win of the season. Is there anybody you want to thank before we let you go?
You guys for putting the broadcast on. My teammate, Jordan Smith, Eric and Pogo for putting into the league on, Tickle Zombie, all those guys. It's a great league to race in. It's probably my favorite league ever. Fanic Robotics, Automatic Handling, Peak, Hot Wheels, and Rockwell Automation.
All right, Evan Pienta, looking forward to seeing what you can do next week, and go celebrate that first victory of the season, sir.
Thank you.
All right, so that was Evan Pienta, your race winner. We'll now bring in our second place finisher here tonight. That would be the driver of the 25 of Scott Tompkins. And Scott, you had a good run there at the beginning of the race, got the race lead early, and then was able to lost it a little bit, but you were really fighting in that second stint.
Yeah, so off the start, I got a good jump, and going into that first corner, I didn't think Randy was going to go as deep as he did, so ran real wide, but was able to clear him. I was gonna pit with them on lap 13 or whatever it was, but Evan and Randy started banging doors, so I decided to go out one more lap. Thankfully, I did, because then Randy had his pit problem. I probably would have T-boned him with my luck. So that kind of put me behind from there, and I just stuck to that strategy and came out second.
And a very solid night, and we've seen this run of form start to reemerge. The championship fight is still close. It got a lot better, or a lot closer, pardon me, after tonight with Bechtel's poor luck. Do you think you still have a shot if you can continue this momentum?
Only if I get a couple more wins, I think, and Randy has one or two more bad runs. Other than that, I think I might be regulated to probably about third in the points, because Chris runs pretty solid as well. And obviously Jordan, considering him and I are always near each other. But, yeah, I think third is probably where I will be if Randy doesn't have another problem or two.
All right, we head back to the ovals next week. We go to Dover. What are your thoughts going into the Monster Mile at Dover?
Oh, I love Dover. That is probably one of my favorite short tracks. When I ran it in my other league, my Scars League, I ran second for the entire race until one guy decided to outsmart me on pit road and pulled out that win and finished third in that league. So I'm extremely confident and ready for Dover.
All right. Anyone you want to give a shout out and a thanks to here after a second place finish tonight?
Yeah, I got to thank my guys at the Scars League. They practiced with me nonstop, actually getting me ready for this road course. My buddy John, when I was down in Florida, let me use his rig for a little bit and practice on it and teaching me what to do. He's our road course expert. Again, Lee Dawson for Poblocki Sign Company let me run his paint scheme again. I think the Silverado might be a good luck charm, and Lee too. Luck of the Irish. But those guys, again, you guys at ESPN putting the things on, broadcasting for us. Jeff and Eric at USRA, and I can't forget about Tickle Zombie. I forgot about him last week. So thanks to Tickle Zombie for coming on.
All right, your second place finisher tonight, Scott Tompkins. Bud, congratulations.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
As we now will move over, Tony, I believe you have Jeff Pogo with you now.
Jeff Pogo, one of the best runs you've had all season. Pit strategy paying dividends tonight, sir. Congratulations on the podium.
Oh, thank you. Wish it would have turned out a little bit different, but I'll take it.
Well, I mean, especially considering that you guys put 3 of your team trucks into the top 10. I mean, great run for you guys all around. As you definitely had it figured out in the Hoonigan Chevy Silverado tonight.
We tried. I'm curious what would have happened if I was on the same strategy as Scott and Evan. My thought was if I pit early take the least amount of fuel, no tires. It'll be a quick stop, and then I'll have a clean track in front of me, not have to fight with anybody or get held up that I'd be fast. But that wasn't the case. But I'll take it.
Well, you were able to dodge quite a few bullets here tonight, as there were quite a few Code Brown moments going on around you, especially early in the event.
Yeah, that's what I was told as it was all happening.
Yeah, as a couple of front runners and top contenders during the practice session and the qualifying session kind of bit it. But Jeff, you had an amazing run going tonight. I don't think you put a tire wrong all night long. And you had one of the cleanest trucks from the drop of the green.
Yeah, that really is the main thing in this. You got to try to have a clean truck to finish it good. You have a damaged truck, it's going to kill your fuel mileage. This being an odd lap number race really kind of screwed with you. So I don't know. I did some practice and kind of figured out what I wanted to do. I never tried to breaking it in thirds like these guys did. That looked like that was the winning strategy. So congratulations to Evan, Scott, both good runs. They earned it.
Well, we go from the road course here at Coda to a completely different skill set next week as we go to the Monster Mile in Dover, Delaware. Your thoughts going into that concrete jungle there?
It's one of my better tracks, one of my favorite tracks, so expect me to be up front on that one.
Well, Jeff, again, congratulations on the podium finish here tonight in Coda. Is there anybody you want to thank before we let you go?
Of course, you guys being up in the booth. I know this was a grueling race for you guys, just like it was for us. I don't know what the broadcast was like for you, but appreciate you guys sticking it out for this one. And just really everybody that showed up tonight. I mean, there were so many guys not looking forward to this race, and to see 20-plus trucks show up, race, and this many guys actually finish the race, I'm impressed.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking at this right now, and it looks like 17 finished the event.
Yeah, so, and I gotta give props to two people, actually. Dan Dill, he's not a road course guy. He hates them. He was going to do a starting park tonight, but I talked him into running the whole thing, and I'm glad he did. And then Larry Poling, man, he stuck it out. He was only, 4 laps down, I think, at the end? So
2.
Was it 2?
2.
So good for Larry. He was worried about tonight. He didn't even want to do the race, but he stuck with it, and I know that everybody in Gateway is proud of him. So good job, Larry.
Yeah, absolutely. One of only 2 drivers that has never run an official road course race. That's a good run to put it top 15 your first time out. But Jeff, again, congratulations on your podium tonight. Looking forward to seeing what you can do next week in Dover.
Thank you, sir.
All right, so that was your top 3 here tonight. And Tony, it was somewhat of a grueling race as it got down towards the latter stages of it, but we did see a lot of great racing all throughout the field here tonight. Close action, clean action for the most part here at a very difficult racetrack in a car that this place is designed for, let alone one it's not. As I think actually Tony stepped away.
Nope.
Oh,
sorry. It helps if I turn my mic back on.
Yeah,
I got to give hats off to everybody who not only started this race but persevered through it. We had a couple retirements because of issues early on. Heartbreak for Chase Berry. He was able to get the truck fixed, but it wasn't fixed right, so he kind of withdrew from the event. Cody Levitt was able to get that motor switched out and put some laps in, and just like I said, all the guys that aren't normally road race guys, especially Tommy Cannon, Larry Poling, Scott Stotler, all 3 of those guys have their rookie road racing licenses, and the fact that they were able to persevere as well as they were, it's nothing short of spectacular, and it shows the level of competition in this field.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And with that, we will go to the results here for tonight's race. Winner tonight, Evan Pienta, Scott Tompkins, and Jeff Pogo. We heard from those 3 already. Jordan Smith beats out Chris Smith in the top 5. Stephen Holmes could not quite catch up to the back of the 81. He'll come home in 6th. Casey Sawtek will come home in 7th. Brandon Ayers, the final car on the lead lap. Randy Bechtel, the first car not on the lead lap, coming home in 9th position. Chandler Summers finishing out the day in 10th position, with Tommy Cannon finishing just outside the top 10.
And as we heard from Jeff Pogo, Dan Dill, amazing run coming home in 12th after planning a start in park, able to persevere. Ellis Thomas, one pit stop strategy, bringing him home in 13th. Dustin Lamb able to hang on for 14th. Larry Poling putting it in the top 15, so good run for Larry. Scott Stotler in 16th. Cody Levitt, after that incident on the opening lap, coming home in 17th, able to have a recovery drive. Zach Calloway put it on the hauler early in 18th. Jeff Price in 19th. Chase Berry, heartbreaker for him, coming home in 20th. Jacob Lamb, the last one to actually take the green, coming home in 21st. Nick Lamb electing not to start.
So that will be the final results here for tonight's round number 12 at Circuit of the Americas. Coming up the remainder of the week here on ESPN. Tomorrow night will be the Circle B Diecast Super Speedway Series from Daytona in the Xfinity Cars, round number 4 of the season for them. That will be an 8:20 p.m. Eastern Time start. Sam Cooper Bennett and Tony in the booth there. Sam will be joining me in the booth this Sunday night for the Major Series Southern 500. That will be an 8 p.m. Eastern Time start from Darlington Raceway in Darlington, South Carolina. Coming up on the 23rd, which will be this Monday, the Rowdy Energy Cup Series will hold their penultimate round before the playoffs begin. That will be at Michigan, 8:20 p.m. Eastern Time start there. And then the Tuesday doubleheader will be the MX5 Pro Series presented by UK Sim Racing. They will be at Road Atlanta at 2:50 p.m. Eastern Time. Jake Sperry and Sam in the booth there, with Tony and Ben Bruno in the booth for the Western States race coming up at 10:05 p.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday night. They will be at Iowa. So for my broadcast partner, Tony Trapasso, I am Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for making us a part of your evening here tonight. We will see you with this series next Thursday night from Dover, and we will see you tomorrow for the Circle B Diecast Super Speedway Series at Daytona. Good night, everybody.